to the Glazov Gang. I'm Anne-Marie Murrell, National Director and Editor-in-Chief of Politichicks.tv, filling in for Jamie Glazov tonight. Tonight we have the most amazing, perfect show in the history of Glazov Gang. First up, Dwight Schultz.
Yay, Dwight.
TV, movie star, A-Team. He played Mad Dog Murdoch. And he played Lieutenant Reginald Barclay in Star Trek Voyager and the movie Star Trek First Contact.
I like Star Trek Voyager.
Voyeur. I thought that too. I wasn't going to say anything. Voyeur.
Next up, another movie and TV star and my Politichick co-host, Brittany, who recently won the Lifetime Achievement Award for the Southern California Motion Picture Council, and well-deserved, and finally, yay, thank you.
That's what happens when you get old, right?
You've had a career forever. You
true.
deserve that. And Michael Chandler, conservative media analyst and passionate activist.
Amen.
Amen.
Woohoo!
All right. Now,
Yes.
hey guys, because this is for us, it's the last Glazov Gang of the year, but now it's actually going to be the first Glazov Gang for 2014. Since Jamie's not here, I brought champagne, and I would like each one of us, in order to make sure that this is Jamie's favorite episode ever,
Okay.
we're each going to say something nice about Jamie. All right? I'm going to look right in the camera because he's going to be watching to see what we have to say about him, as always. Dr. Jamie Glazov. I tease you, I make fun of you all the time, I call you my little bratty brother. You punch me in the arm, and then I bop you upside the head. But in all seriousness, you are one of my best friends. I think of you as one of the most intelligent men I've ever known, and I've learned so much from you. So, Happy New Year, Jamie. Cheers.
Mr. Glazov, although you look more and more like Lenin every day with your little beard and mustache, I recognize you for what you are, a remarkable human being, someone I think it is a great privilege to have met you and to be on the Glazov Gang. Thank you.
My. Mr. Glazov, I just want to say that I think it is such an honor for me to have met you and to know you and to be able to be a part of the Glazov Gang. You are one of the most incredible, brilliant people that I think I've ever met. And your book is fantastic. You know more about subjects than I could ever know in a lifetime. And I'm very honored and very pleased to know you and to be a part of the gang.
Michael.
I, too, salute Jamie for his acumen on all these important issues, and he has enlightened me in various ways, and I respect him and am gratified by what he has brought to my attention and exposure on this program. Thank you, Jamie.
Cheers!
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
All right, now on to the serious matters
Oh,
of
that's
the day.
good. That's good
I know,
stuff.
isn't it?
Did Jamie send that?
No, that was mine. That was mine this time.
It's good
Okay.
stuff.
First of all, we're going to talk about a Christmas miracle, progressive style. This is an exciting week for the left.
Obamacare is going to work now?
No, it's even better.
That'd be a miracle.
It's even better. This is a
Okay.
different kind of miracle. David Kirkpatrick of the United States Press, the New York Times, discovered all by himself, by talking to Libyans, that it was actually the film. So this one reporter was able to discard all the information, everything that the American witnesses provided, and Ambassador Stevens himself said that there were al-Qaeda flags flying on buildings and cars, but it doesn't matter because this New York Times reporter has disputed everything and cleared everything with Hillary Clinton and Susan Rice. Dwight, aren't you happy about this Christmas miracle?
Well, I am, and it reminds me of so many of the other miracles. It actually reminds me of the science of communism, because communism as an ideology proved that they, through science, could improve art, literature, husbandry, whatever you wanted to do. I mean, it was right there in the ideology. And this fellow, who, by the way, several years ago, excuse me, right after the Benghazi event, gave he was 100% behind the Hillary Clinton, Susan Rice, Barack Obama lie. And so here he is now, fulfilling the lie.
Right.
They are right there. And as I mentioned to you earlier, it reminded me of The Power of Nightmares, which was a BBC documentary after 9/11, which basically called international Islamic terrorism a myth. And in fact, said the rise of Islamic terrorism was connected to the rise of neoconservatism in the United States. It is the same thing. It comes from the same mind. And the BBC, being an international force for news, and the New York Times, of course, printing all the news that's fit to print, they are in bed together. They are propagandists for the other side. And we must never lose sight of it.
Well, we can't ever say anything bad about our enemy, is basically what's happened throughout the Obama administration. Morgan.
Do they think we're stupid? Do they really just think we're complete idiots out in America?
Yes, they do.
Is that it? Because they're bringing back the story that has completely been discredited.
Yep.
They know it was not a film. Everybody knows it was not a film. It's like we're living in the Twilight Zone. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
This has gotten so out of hand. And the New York Times is just, they're out of control. They really are. And you know what this is all about, don't you?
Yes.
This is all about Hillary Clinton rehabilitating her, saying, who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes? Come on. She had nothing to do with it.
Well, there's also word that Susan Rice, they really want to elevate her with Hillary Clinton, and possibly Clinton-Rice.
Oh, absolutely.
2016.
Yeah.
Well, Michael, what about you? What do you think?
It's part of a long-standing dynamic. I look back to the New York Times back in Walter Duranty's day, when he got his Pulitzer Prize for the gulags, and how he portrayed that as a wonderful, glamorous Soviet rehabilitation of society, where they can restructure everything, and everything is fine and dandy. No famines, no purges, everything's fine and dandy. And Uncle Joe can be relied upon as an American ally, and none of that was true. And it was finally brought to light that everything that Duranty said was a provable, systematic lie right down the line. And he should give back his Pulitzer Prize.
Well,
But he wouldn't, and the Times wouldn't, even to this day.
If he gives back that, then Barack Obama should give back the Nobel Peace Prize. What do you think?
Neither of them earned it, did
No, they didn't.
Gregory Hicks, during the congressional hearings, Representative Patrick McHenry asked him, was there any mention of the YouTube video during Benghazi? Hicks said the YouTube video was a non-issue in Libya, and President of Libya said it was al-Qaeda, and he was insulted when all of the talk came out of the YouTube videos, because it was basically calling the president of Libya a liar all at the same time. And Gregory Hicks testified that he believed that that was one of the reasons why we couldn't go in right into Libya to investigate. They held off because... Dwight,
I just want to say
how
that,
upside down is this?
Well, informed sources have written that our illustrious Secretary of Defense Hagel has been sent over to Egypt to try to convince the Egyptians to go easy on the Muslim Brotherhood.
Well, of course.
Now they've just, of course, called them terrorists, right?
The Egyptians did, right, exactly.
Which is what we should be calling them.
Right.
This is an indication of how serious what happened in Benghazi really was, because this president and Hillary Clinton embraced the Muslim Brotherhood. They gave them special seats.
That's right.
They brought them into our government. And this is still not an issue.
But they're still calling that a hoax, too.
Well,
they still try to deny that.
Yes.
They just keep throwing out, they call us liars if we say this is true.
But it's not going to work.
Well...
It's not going to work because al-Qaeda and the Muslim Brotherhood are one. Zawahiri is one of the fathers of al-Qaeda, and he is one of the creators of the Muslim Brotherhood. And Mohammed Zawahiri, who was interviewed by CNN the day after the attack in Benghazi, let the cat out of the bag what it was all about. which was the blind shake.
That's right.
And
That's
an
right.
attempt to embarrass us. And of course, we have those tapes of, some of the terrorists who said, Morsi sent us.
Well,
And that's what this is all about.
Wow.
one thing with Gregory Hicks, too, who testified, I mean, he really did, they tried to talk him out of testifying.
Oh, I
They tried
know.
to have
I
him
know.
withhold information from the congressional hearings. He voted for Hillary in the primaries. He voted for Obama twice. He's a diehard Democrat.
Yes.
And he was immediately demoted. He was given a desk job
Sure.
after he started
The only
criticizing
one
Susan Rice. The
demoted.
only one.
Yeah.
Right. The only ones that were punished were the filmmaker and Gregory Hicks. And so far, everyone else has gotten off scot-free. All right, let's move on real quick. Okay, Saeed Abedini.
Yes.
Over Christmas. This was his second Christmas to be in an Iranian prison. He's an Iranian-American Christian pastor, and he is in jail, and he was just transferred to one of the more intense jails because he's a Christian.
Right.
Morgan, why, if this guy's name was Beyonce or Jay-Z,
No.
would he have been in prison for 2 years?
No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't. And
Why can't we have an outcry for this man?
You know what? It makes me so angry. Not that there's just not an outcry, but the media just hides it. They don't talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. But the thing that really galls me is the fact that we make deals with Iran and we don't even say, give him back to us. Not even one thing. This is what makes me so angry. And they let him sit over there, and he's a Christian. They do nothing.
And we released one of their nuclear scientists.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we bend
Right.
over backwards to do everything for them and cut them all this slack. And we don't even get him back. This is crazy.
Not surprising.
Well, Michael, why do you think churches aren't causing more of an outrage about this too? I mean, churches were furious about Duck Dynasty. Why aren't they as furious about an American being held in an Iranian prison right now?
Because churches are now on the defensive. They're being portrayed as insensitive, homophobic. They're not really inclined for what is portrayed as social justice. And if they're not going to play ball with the leftist cast of things, then they also are on the defensive, just like Duck Dynasty's Phil Robertson. And that's what's happening here. It's a matter of cultural allegiance, in my perspective. Obama and his whole crew don't really have allegiance to the American view of things. They have a leftist view of things. Economy, defense, justice, foreign affairs, environmentalism, and so all their efforts are bent towards a shifting away from that which has made America America and which has defended the stability of the world as well as the sovereignty of the nation or the people. Mr. Saeed's personal sovereignty has been violated. In the past, when American citizens have been seized by foreigners and held, that was a cause for war. And we would send the Navy and send the Marines, and they would go ashore and say, we
Yeah.
want our guy, give him
That's
to us
right.
now. And
That's
what
right.
does Obama do now? Say, well, it's okay, keep him. We'll talk about your centrifuges later. We'll talk about nuclear weapons later. We'll talk about your threat to our ally Israel later. Can't we all just get along?
Yeah, this is a pattern
You can't get
here.
along with
It's
your
not
enemies.
just it's not just this. It's Benghazi. They left behind
Every one of
everybody.
them.
They don't go and show any strength at all. None.
Now, you were talking about Egypt earlier. They were the Obama administration was so behind the Arab Spring and getting Mubarak out to replace, with Morsi. But then when the Egyptian people were trying to get rid of Morsi and the Muslim Brotherhood, crickets once again. They weren't going to support that. What is going on? Why do you think this is happening?
Well, look, the President of the United States, who gave that remarkable speech, I say that with a little bit of cynicism, with the Muslim Brotherhood sitting right in front of him in Cairo, talking about the beauty of Islam and how Islam was so fundamentally important to the creation of the United States of America. A falsehood, a lie. This president has done everything that he can to turn the world upside down and against the United States. He supports our enemies, and he betrays our allies. That has been his modus operandi from the very beginning. It's not going to stop. And his allies, from a frightening standpoint. And I harken back to the Elian Gonzalez event when it first happened. The churches were behind sending that child back to Castro, who Elian now sees as a god. The churches are left, to quote Dennis Prager, left of center. Christians are scared to death to criticize those who are murdering Christians around the world. The Islamic terrorists, the fascists. They won't, and the Pope is afraid. He'll talk about them being killed and Christian persecution, but he won't name the persecutors.
Right.
They're all afraid of causing a worldwide religious schism as opposed to telling the truth.
Well, on his Christmas Day address,
Homilies and stuff.
he was talking to, Pope Francis was talking about Middle East
Right.
negotiations and trying to bring, and now I know that all popes try to say that, peace in the Middle East. Michael, you're saying no.
It's meaningless homilies. It's meaningless platitudes, because they don't want to engage the enemy. Is what it boils down to. It's harsh to say, but I think it's true. The enemy of world peace is Islam. Everywhere you find the borders of Islam with any other society, whether religious or political, they are in conflict. They're even in conflict within themselves. Here, the America in particular and the West in general has shown Islam the path in Iraq and Afghanistan. And no sooner that we start to leave, that they revert back to their conflicts again. Why? Because Islam is not a religion of peace, it's a religion of conflict with whoever neighbors they have. Every time they have conflict, and they're going to have it here.
I don't know about you, but I need a drink. Wow.
And then on Christmas Day, the same day that
Yes.
the Pope was preaching about
They murder
peace,
Christians in Iraq.
37
Peace is not possible.
37 Christians,
Christians.
two
Right,
different separate
right.
bombings
This-
in Iraq.
on
We're
Christmas Day.
targeting Christians.
I know.
It's no coincidence.
And they're being demonized in this country. Christians every day are being demonized,
Oh, yeah.
not just over there, but in our own country.
And our president has said nothing about it.
Nothing.
Well,
Nothing.
He didn't go to church on Christmas, by the way.
Why would he? Hello. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for right now. When we come back, we're going to talk about Obamacare. The taxes and the fees and the fines are right on the way. You might want to get a drink.